I think it is a shame that some foreign language teachers were able to graduate from college without ever having studied with a native speaker. The visiting professor is going to give a lecture on geology. I think it's one of the best things I have done, really. The vocabulary with particular meaning is jargon. I think the university's main campus is closed. The wheelchair lift has been upgraded this month. I think we should get together over the weekend to discuss this assignment. Theories are based on the practical as discussed. I thought the midterm exam was only worth half of our course grade. There are hundreds of clubs and societies to choose from. I was overwhelmed with too much irrelevant information. There are lots of people competing for the places in computer courses. I will be in my office every day from 10 to 12. There are no places left in the morning tutorial. I will check again, but I am pretty sure we are supposed to read chapter 2. There are no scheduled classes during the final exam weeks. I will now demonstrate how the reaction can be arrested by adding a dilute acid. There is a position available for a junior lecturer in media studies. I will start with a brief history of the district and then focus on life in the first half of the 20th century. There is little evidence available to contradict his viewpoints. I would like to drastically decrease the amount of time it takes me to clean the house. There is no entrance fee for tonight's lecture. I'll start with a brief history of the district and then focus on life in the first half of the 20th century. There is plenty of cheap accommodation off campus. I am quite aware of my own inadequacies. There are varying plagiarism policies across different university departments. She feared becoming an objective ridicule. There will be a conference here next summer on using the web for academic research. I am sorry for being late for today's lecture. There will be a guest lecturer visiting the department next month. If she doesn't speak the language, she is not going to sit around a week waiting for a translator. There will be a significant rise in tuition fees starting next year. If you are unable to complete the task in time, please notify me by email. There will be ample opportunities to ask questions about the presentation. If you are working after 11 o'clock, who will drive you home? There will be no extensions given for this project. If you forgot your student number, you should contact Jenny Bryce. There will be an open book exam on Monday, the 28th. If you need any information about the university, you can check the information office located beside the corridor. There's an hourly bus service from the campus into town. If you want to quit the student union, tell the registrar. They say Professor James' lectures are always interesting and funny. If your parents come to visit you this semester, where will they stay? They were struggling to pay their fees last year. I'm afraid Professor Jones doesn't suffer fools gladly. This article covers the who, where and when of the conflict. This can be used as a starting point of my discussion today. In Europe, the political pressure is similar regarding globalization. In spite the cold temperature, the sky is clear and blue. This is the third time you've asked for an extension on this project. In the last few weeks, we've been looking at various aspects of the social history of London. This lecture was meant to start at 10. In the past, students were required to complete 2 long written assignments. This material is good for the next week's seminar. In this library, reserve collection books can be borrowed for up to 3 hours. This module develops our understanding of the theory behind advertising campaigns. Information is being given to readers in a format that looks familiar. This part of the session is not supported by documentation. International students can get help with locating housing near the university. This part of the story is the story of my father. Interpreters are not readily available in this department. This science fiction novel uses inventions of better space to create the setting. It is important that you work as a team on this project. This semester we plan to specialize in educational psychology. It is important to take gender into account when discussing the figures. This year we are applying to use a different type of assessment on this module. It is important to validate all assumptions before arriving at a conclusion. 3 of the students were confused by the key hypothesis. It is obligatory for companies to provide details of their industrial processes. To improve the essay, I decided to include more direct quotes. He looks as if he buys all his clothes from Goodwill. To receive the reimbursement, you must keep the original receipts. It is quite clear that the rising prosperity does not make people feel more content. To understand its entity, we need to go back to its origin. It isn't easy when it comes to the definition of this word. Today, we will discuss the sonnet and course papers. It was acknowledged that his work was groundbreaking. Tomorrow's lunchtime seminar on nuclear engineering has been postponed. It has confidence, and it's an optimism that I now have. Traffic snarled up on both sides of the road. It has the words of common occurrence that have different referential values. Try to explain how your ideas are linked so that there is a logical flow. Tuesday's lecture on social psychology will now take place in the Central Hall. It's just a feeling having tried something new and succeeded. Tutorials are held for 2 hours every Thursday during the semester. It's time to finalize the work before Wednesday's seminar. Unfortunately, the two most interesting economics selections clash on my timetable. I've always been interested in biology and physics. Unlike applied arts, fine arts do not serve a practical function. I've got a tutorial in an hour and I haven't had any time to prepare for it. Unlike the other store where it can take up to 14 days, this will only be a week. Journalism is the collection and publication or transmission of news. Very little of the work of today's knowledge firm is repetitive or mechanical. Just wait a minute. I will be with you shortly. Visual aids can make presentations clear and more interesting. Knives and forks should be placed next to the spoon on the edge of the table. Vocabulary in a special field is jargon. We are also going to be more prescriptive about what you focus on in your presentation. Loans are only available for international students. Loans are only available for international students. We are delighted to have Professor Robert to join our faculty.